Ladies and gentlemen, today we're here to talk about one of the most powerful aspects of life, love. But let me make one thing clear: never beg to be loved. Love is not something you beg for, chase, or compromise your self-worth for. It is something you deserve. You are not a beggar in the realm of love. You are royalty, and you must believe that. We often find ourselves in relationships, whether romantic or otherwise, where we feel the need to prove our worth. We do things to win affection, to earn attention, and to hold on to something that might not be right for us. But true love is not a transaction. You do not have to negotiate your self-respect or your happiness. You deserve a love that is as easy as breathing, something that flows naturally and freely. Let's stop chasing people who aren't ready to give what we need. When you know your worth, the right people will recognize it too. So stand tall, embrace your individuality, and walk away from anything that asks you to dim your light. You don't need to beg, you just need to be. Your heart is sacred, your spirit is priceless, and love will find you when you stop searching for it in all the wrong places. And remember, the love you give to yourself sets the standard for the love you receive from others. Never ever beg to be loved. You deserve love. In a world that often tells us we need to prove our worth, to earn affection, or to win someone over, it's important to remember that love isn't something that needs to be bargained for. It isn't something you should have to earn by changing who you are, sacrificing your happiness, or compromising your boundaries. Love should be something that feels natural, something that flows without effort, and most importantly, it should come from a place of mutual respect, understanding, and acceptance. The world has a way of making us feel like we're not enough unless we prove ourselves in some way. From the stories we hear about what relationships should look like, to the pressures from society or even from the people closest to us, there's a constant reminder that we have to do more, be more, in order to deserve the love we crave. But the truth is that you are enough, just as you are. Your worth does not depend on someone else's approval or validation. It is inherent in who you are. You don't need to shrink yourself, dim your light, or beg anyone to see your worth. You are already deserving of love because you exist. We often find ourselves in relationships where we feel the need to prove something. We might give up pieces of ourselves in order to gain affection or make someone else happy, thinking that doing so will somehow earn us the love we want. But this isn't real love. Love should never come at the expense of who you are. If you have to beg for attention, affection, or emotional investment, then you're likely in a relationship that isn't built on respect or mutual care. Real love is not transactional. It isn't about doing things to earn affection. It's about a deep connection that exists because two people value each other for who they truly are. When you learn to recognize your own worth, you stop chasing after love. You stop seeking validation from others. You stop giving up your happiness in exchange for a false sense of security in a relationship. Instead, you start to understand that love is not something you should have to chase. It is something that will come to you when you are in the right space, both internally and externally. When you are at peace with who you are, the people who truly align with your values, your dreams, and your heart will find their way to you. They will recognize your light, and they will treat you with the respect and affection you deserve. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that you need to constantly give more, be more, and prove that you are worthy of love. But the truth is, love is not a reward for being a certain way or doing a certain thing. Love is not something you have to work for. It is something you should effortlessly attract when you stop trying to fit into molds that don't reflect who you really are. Your authenticity, your kindness, your ambition, your quirks, and your individuality are what make you deserving of love, not the things you do to please others. Many people live their entire lives chasing after relationships, trying to make things work with individuals who aren't ready to offer them the love they need or deserve. We sometimes settle because we think that's all we can get, or because we fear being alone. But the reality is that being alone doesn't make you unworthy. It simply gives you the time and space to understand yourself better, to love yourself deeper, and to attract the kind of love that is meant for you. You don't need to settle for less than what you deserve, because the right kind of love will come when you are whole and happy within yourself. One of the most important things to remember is that love isn't something that can be forced. It isn't about begging someone to stay or to choose you. It's about creating an environment where love can grow organically, where both people come together as equals and contribute to the relationship in meaningful ways. And sometimes that means walking away from a situation that isn't fulfilling. It means trusting that if love is meant to be, it will find its way to you, without begging, without compromising who you are. Your heart is sacred. It deserves to be treated with care, respect, and honor. Don't give it away to someone who isn't ready to handle it. Don't pour all of your energy into someone who doesn't appreciate you, who doesn't see your worth. You are worthy of love that doesn't come with conditions, that doesn't ask you to be someone else or change who you are. You are deserving of a love that lifts you up, that supports you, and that helps you grow into the best version of yourself. Never forget that you are enough, just as you are, and that love will find you when you stop chasing it and simply allow it to come to you. Self-worth is the foundation of everything that we do in life. It shapes how we view ourselves, how we interact with others, and how we allow ourselves to be treated. It is the quiet force that determines the relationships we form, the boundaries we set, and the standards we hold for the love we deserve. Without self-worth, we may find ourselves lost, constantly seeking validation from the outside world, always wondering if we are good enough. But when we truly understand our worth, when we recognize that we are inherently valuable, everything shifts. The way we approach life changes, and so does the way we approach relationships, both with ourselves and others. Self-worth is not something that comes from external sources. It is not something that can be given to you by someone else, nor is it something that can be earned by achievements or material possessions. It is an internal belief in your own value, regardless of what others think, say, or do. It is an understanding that you are enough just as you are, that your uniqueness, your talents, and your spirit are priceless. When you have self-worth, you stop looking for it in the opinions of others, and you stop waiting for someone to validate you. Instead, you find it within yourself, and that is where true empowerment begins. A person who knows their worth doesn't chase after approval, love, or acceptance. They already know that they are deserving of all those things without needing to prove themselves. This doesn't mean they are arrogant or full of themselves. Rather, they have a quiet confidence in their own value. When you understand your worth, you stop seeking approval from people who aren't aligned with your values or who don't see your value. You begin to attract the people who recognize you for who you truly are. People who will love and appreciate you for the incredible person you are, not for what you can do for them or how well you can meet their needs. Self-worth also plays a crucial role in setting boundaries. When you know your value, you no longer allow others to treat you poorly or disrespectfully. You don't tolerate relationships or situations that drain you, hurt you, or diminish your spirit. You know that you are worthy of love, respect, and kindness, and you refuse to settle for anything less. When you don't know your worth, you may stay in relationships that are toxic or unfulfilling, thinking that this is all you deserve. But when you truly understand your worth, you have the strength to walk away from anything that doesn't contribute to your well-being. You set boundaries that protect your peace, and you prioritize your own happiness, knowing that you deserve it. In many ways, self-worth is the compass that guides us in every area of our lives. It informs the decisions we make, from the career we pursue to the friendships we nurture, to the people we choose to be in our lives. If you don't know your value, it becomes difficult to make choices that are in alignment with your true self. You may find yourself settling for things that aren't fulfilling simply because you don't believe that you deserve anything better. But when you know your worth, you make decisions that honor who you are and what you need. You become the architect of your own life, creating a future that is filled with love, success, and fulfillment, because you understand that you are deserving of all those things. Self-worth is also an ongoing practice. It's not something that is magically acquired overnight. It's a journey, one that requires constant self-reflection, growth, and self-love. There will be times when doubts creep in, when the world's opinions threaten to cloud your perception of yourself. During those times, it's important to come back to the truth. Your worth is inherent, not dependent on others' opinions or circumstances. It's a constant reminder that you are valuable, no matter what. The more you practice self-love and self-respect, the more you will recognize your worth and carry it with you everywhere you go. When you cultivate true self-worth, you not only improve the way you view yourself, but you also elevate the quality of your relationships. You start attracting people who treat you with the same love and respect you give yourself. You become a magnet for positivity, for authentic connections, and for love that is based on mutual respect and understanding. You stop wasting time on relationships that don't serve you, and instead you create space for those that honor you and your unique journey. Self-worth is truly the key to everything in life. It unlocks the door to self-love, to fulfilling relationships, and to a life that is lived on your own terms. When you understand and embrace your worth, the world begins to reflect it back to you in ways that are both beautiful and transformative. So remember always, you are enough just as you are. And once you know that, the world will open up to you in ways you never imagined possible. Stop chasing. It's a phrase that might sound simple, but its impact is profound. In life, we often find ourselves running after things, whether it's love, success, validation, or approval. We chase after these external factors because we believe that they will fill a void within us, that they will somehow complete us or make us feel more worthy. But the truth is, the more we chase, the further away we get from finding true fulfillment. We end up exhausting ourselves, depleting our energy, and forgetting the most important lesson. Everything we truly need is already within us. When we chase something, we place it outside of ourselves, believing it is the key to our happiness or success. But the reality is that when we chase, we're always in a state of longing, always striving for something just beyond our grasp. Whether it's chasing a relationship, a career goal, or social approval, we never allow ourselves to simply be. The chase becomes all-consuming, and instead of moving towards fulfillment, we end up running in circles, constantly feeling like we're not quite there yet. Chasing love is one of the most common struggles many people face. We've all been there, seeking the approval of someone else, desperately wanting their attention, affection, or validation. We pour our energy into relationships, often ignoring the signs that they aren't serving us, simply because we want to feel chosen, loved, or desired. But love is not something that should be chased. True love does not require you to chase after it, to prove your worthiness, or to beg for attention. Love should come naturally as a mutual connection between two people who respect and value each other. When you stop chasing love, you allow space for it to come to you. You stop giving away your power and energy to someone who doesn't see your worth, and instead you start attracting love that is real, fulfilling, and based on equality. Chasing success is another trap that so many of us fall into. We live in a society that constantly pushes us to achieve more, to rise higher, to do better. We set ambitious goals and we work tirelessly to reach them, believing that success will bring us happiness, security, or recognition. But when we're too focused on the end goal, we forget to enjoy the journey. We neglect our well-being, our passions, and our sense of purpose. Success becomes something we chase relentlessly, yet it often feels like an elusive prize. What we fail to realize is that true success doesn't come from chasing it externally. It comes from aligning our goals with our inner values, finding joy in the process, and living authentically. When we stop chasing success, we allow it to come to us effortlessly. We start creating from a place of purpose rather than desperation, and we end up achieving things that are not only rewarding but fulfilling on a deeper level. The constant chase for validation is also something many of us struggle with. Whether it's seeking likes on social media, approval from our peers or colleagues or loved ones, we often look outside ourselves for confirmation that we are enough. But validation from others will always be fleeting. It's never a permanent solution to the deep-rooted question of whether we are worthy. When we chase validation, we hand over control of our self-esteem to others. We allow their opinions to shape how we feel about ourselves. Instead, we need to recognize that our worth doesn't depend on anyone's approval but our own. When we stop chasing validation, we start to embrace our own uniqueness, accepting that who we are is enough. We begin to value our own thoughts, achievements, and experiences, and in doing so, we cultivate a sense of inner strength and self-assurance that no external validation can ever provide. Chasing can also manifest in friendships or relationships that aren't aligned with who we truly are. Many of us fear being alone, so we chase after connections that may not be genuine or healthy, simply to avoid feeling isolated. We might stay in toxic friendships or cling to relationships that don't nurture us, hoping that they will eventually become what we need. But when we chase connections out of fear, we sacrifice our authenticity, and we end up in situations where we're constantly giving more than we're receiving. True connections are not something you chase. They grow naturally when you are being your authentic self and attract the people who align with your energy. When you stop chasing relationships out of fear or loneliness, you allow space for deep, meaningful connections to form based on mutual respect, trust, and love. Ultimately, chasing is a reflection of a deeper need, the need to feel validated, loved, or fulfilled. But what we don't always realize is that those things don't come from chasing, they come from within. The more we chase, the more we lose sight of the most important thing, ourselves. We stop listening to our intuition, we stop trusting our own judgment, and we forget that the things we seek externally are already inside of us. When we stop chasing, we stop the endless cycle of longing and start living in alignment with our true selves. We stop seeking validation, love, and success in the wrong places, and we begin to attract them naturally as a result of our own growth and self-acceptance. When you stop chasing, you start living, and that's when the magic happens. Love should be easy. We often complicate love, make it harder than it needs to be, or believe that love requires constant struggle, sacrifice, and emotional labor. We hear stories, see movies, or perhaps even experience relationships where love seems difficult, filled with constant drama, misunderstandings, or hardship. But true love, the kind that nurtures, uplifts, and supports, doesn't come with these unnecessary complexities. It is meant to be effortless in its most authentic form, a space where both people can be themselves, free from fear, manipulation, or excessive effort. When love is easy, it flows naturally between two people. It doesn't need to be forced, and it doesn't demand that one person give up who they are to make the other person happy. Love should allow space for growth, for individuality, and for mutual respect. It's not about compromising your essence, constantly proving your worth, or overextending yourself to keep the other person satisfied. When love is easy, it is based on understanding, kindness, and the willingness to meet each other where you are, without expectations or pressure. We live in a world where we're often told that relationships take hard work and that love requires constant effort to keep it alive. But while there's truth in the idea that relationships need care and attention, the kind of effort we're talking about shouldn't feel draining or exhausting. It should be the kind of effort that comes from a place of genuine care, where both people are equally invested in the relationship. It should never feel like you're the only one putting in the work, while the other person remains distant or disengaged. When love is easy, both people are committed to nurturing it, not because they feel obligated to, but because they genuinely want to. Easy love is built on the foundation of trust. Trust allows both individuals to be vulnerable, knowing that the other person will not take advantage of their openness or use it against them. When there is trust, there is no need for constant questioning or second-guessing. There's no need to chase reassurance or ask for validation repeatedly. Trust creates a safe space where both individuals can feel secure and comfortable in the relationship, and this security fosters peace. Love should give you peace of mind, not anxiety or constant worry. When you feel at ease with someone, knowing that they have your back, it becomes easy to share your thoughts, your dreams, your fears, and your vulnerabilities. In this type of relationship, both people can be their authentic selves without fear of judgment or rejection. Communication also plays a key role in making love easy. Healthy communication is straightforward and honest, non-manipulative or indirect. It's about being able to speak your mind and share your feelings openly, knowing that the other person will listen with respect and empathy. When communication is easy, it's because both people are willing to be vulnerable and honest with each other without fear of being misunderstood or ridiculed. Love should never feel like a game of cat and mouse where you're trying to figure out what the other person is thinking or feeling. Instead, it should feel like an open conversation where both parties are equally invested in making sure they understand each other and are meeting each other's needs. When communication is effortless, it removes so many of the barriers that often cause stress or tension in a relationship. Another reason why love should be easy is because it should not require constant proving. You should never feel like you have to work hard to show someone that you love them. If someone truly loves you, they don't need you to demonstrate your affection at every turn, nor should they expect you to constantly prove your worth to them. Love that is easy is unconditional. It's not based on tests or games. There's no need to win someone's affection or earn their love. The love should be present simply because both people have chosen to share their lives with each other. When you truly love someone, you don't keep score and you don't expect them to jump through hoops to earn your love. It's given freely and it is received in the same spirit. Easy love also allows room for individuality. It doesn't demand that you lose yourself in the other person, nor does it make you feel like you can't pursue your own goals or dreams. When love is easy, both people support each other's growth and development. They encourage each other to be the best version of themselves while still maintaining their own sense of identity. There's no need for dependency or clinging to one another out of fear of losing the connection. Instead, there's a healthy balance where both individuals are able to thrive independently, knowing that they have each other's unwavering support. Finally, love should feel natural. It shouldn't require you to constantly change, twist yourself into a shape that isn't true to who you are. Love that is easy allows you to feel at home with the other person, as though being with them is the most natural thing in the world. It should feel like breathing. Simple, effortless, and essential to your existence. When love is easy, you don't have to second guess your feelings or your connection. You don't have to worry about if the other person feels the same way or if they will leave you. Instead, you can simply exist together in a space of mutual understanding, respect, and love. At the heart of it, love should never feel like a struggle. It should be a natural, flowing experience that brings you peace, joy, and connection. When love is easy, it allows you to be who you are, to trust, to communicate openly, and to feel secure. It should uplift, not drain you, and it should bring out the best in both people without forcing anyone to change into something they are not. Setting boundaries is one of the most essential practices for maintaining your mental, emotional, and physical well-being. It's the act of defining what is acceptable and what is not in your relationships, whether with friends, family, co-workers, or romantic partners. It's about knowing your limits and communicating them effectively to others. Boundaries are not just about saying no when necessary, they are also about protecting your energy, your space, and your peace. Without boundaries, it's easy to become overwhelmed, resentful, and lost in the demands of others, often at the expense of your own happiness and self-respect. When you set healthy boundaries, you are showing yourself and others that you value your own needs and feelings and you are worthy of respect. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they fear rejection or feel guilty about asserting themselves. We've been conditioned to put others' needs before our own, especially in relationships where we might feel a strong sense of obligation. We may worry about disappointing people or being labeled as difficult or selfish. However, boundaries are not about shutting people out or being selfish. They are about creating a healthy space where both parties can thrive. Boundaries are about mutual respect, not about keeping people at arm's length. They ensure that your needs are met while also allowing others to express their needs. Setting boundaries isn't about drawing walls. It's about creating a foundation where both you and others can feel safe, heard, and valued. One of the key reasons boundaries are important is because they allow you to preserve your energy. Life is full of demands, and we can easily find ourselves stretched thin, trying to meet the needs of everyone around us. When we don't set boundaries, we end up saying yes to things that drain us, whether it's taking on more tasks than we can handle at work, agreeing to plans when we need rest, or tolerating behavior from others that makes us uncomfortable. This can leave us feeling exhausted, overwhelmed, and frustrated. By setting boundaries, you are giving yourself permission to protect your energy, to say no when you need to, and to prioritize your own well-being without guilt. You are allowing yourself the time and space to recharge, focus on your own goals, and take care of yourself, which ultimately makes you more available and present for others when you choose to engage with them. Another critical aspect of setting boundaries is that it helps to foster healthier, more authentic relationships. When you are clear about your limits and communicate them effectively, you are teaching others how to treat you. You are sending a message that you are worthy of respect and that you will not tolerate behavior that undermines your self-esteem or well-being. Healthy relationships are built on mutual understanding, where both people feel safe and valued. Without boundaries, relationships can become one-sided, with one person constantly giving while the other takes. This imbalance can lead to feelings of resentment, burnout, and frustration. By setting clear boundaries, you ensure that both you and the other person are equally invested in the relationship and that both of your needs are respected and honored. Setting boundaries also requires a deep understanding of yourself. It involves knowing what you are comfortable with and what makes you feel uncomfortable or unsafe. It requires being honest with yourself about your needs, desires, and limitations. Many people struggle with setting boundaries because they haven't taken the time to reflect on their own feelings or are afraid to confront their own discomfort. But when you become self-awareness, you begin to recognize when your limits are being tested and you can take the necessary steps to protect yourself. Self-awareness allows you to distinguish between what is your responsibility and what belongs to others, so you can stop carrying emotional or mental burdens that are not yours to bear. It also enables you to communicate your boundaries in a way that is clear and assertive without feeling guilty or apologetic. At times, setting boundaries can be challenging, especially when you are dealing with people who have not respected your limits in the past or who may not be used to you asserting yourself. It can be uncomfortable, especially if you've spent a long time pleasing others or saying yes to things that go against your values. But the more you practice setting boundaries, the easier it becomes. It's important to remember that you have the right to set boundaries at any time, and you don't need to explain or justify yourself to anyone. Boundaries are about protecting your peace, and no one should be able to violate that. While some people may try to push back or challenge your boundaries, it's important to stay firm and consistent. If someone truly values and respects you, they will honor your limits without question. If they don't, it may be time to reconsider the relationship or adjust how much energy you invest in it. Boundaries also allow you to build resilience and self-confidence. When you take the time to set and maintain your boundaries, you are asserting your own worth. You are telling the world that you are deserving of respect and you are willing to advocate for your needs. This act of self-respect helps build your inner strength and reinforces the belief that you are worthy of care and consideration. Over time, as you become more comfortable with setting boundaries, you will find that you feel more empowered, more in control of your life, and more aligned with your true self. You will be less likely to feel overwhelmed or resentful and more able to engage in relationships and activities that bring you joy and fulfillment. Setting boundaries is not only a form of self-care, but also a way to enhance your relationships, create space for your own growth, and protect your peace. When you value yourself enough to set clear and healthy boundaries, you create an environment where love, respect, and authenticity can flourish. Boundaries are not walls that separate you from others. They are bridges that allow you to connect more deeply with respect for both yourself and those around you. Loving yourself first is one of the most important and transformative practices you can embrace in life. It's not just a phrase to say or a concept to entertain. It's a deep, fundamental shift in how you view yourself and how you approach life. Loving yourself first is not about selfishness or vanity. It's about recognizing your inherent worth and treating yourself with the same kindness, compassion, and respect that you would offer to others. Often we are conditioned to seek love and validation from external sources, whether it's from family, friends, or romantic relationships. But when we place our self-worth in the hands of others, we leave ourselves vulnerable to disappointment and emotional turmoil. To truly thrive, it's essential to first nurture a loving relationship with yourself. Loving yourself first means accepting who you are, flaws and all. It's about letting go of the need for perfection and understanding that you are already enough just as you are. We live in a world that often tells us we're not good enough, whether through unrealistic beauty standards, societal pressures, or comparisons with others. These external forces can leave us feeling inadequate, as if we need to change who we are to meet someone else's expectations. But when you love yourself first, you stop looking for validation outside of yourself. You begin to understand that your worth is not defined by your appearance, your achievements, or anyone else's opinion. You are worthy simply because you exist, and you can take pride in who you are, flaws, imperfections, and all. To love yourself first is to be your own biggest supporter. It's about being gentle with yourself during difficult times, offering yourself understanding when things don't go as planned, and practicing self-compassion instead of self-criticism. We can be our own harshest critics, often holding ourselves to standards that we would never impose on anyone else. But when you love yourself, you understand that mistakes are a natural part of life and growth. You don't berate yourself for failing. Instead, you recognize that failures are opportunities to learn, grow, and become stronger. Loving yourself first means choosing to be kind to yourself, to uplift yourself when you're feeling down, and to be patient with your own journey. It's about acknowledging that you're human and you deserve grace just like anyone else. Loving yourself first also means setting boundaries. When you prioritize yourself, you recognize the importance of protecting your energy, time, and emotions. This might mean saying no to people or situations that drain you, or distancing yourself from environments that do not support your well-being. It's about knowing that you have the right to choose what you allow into your life and what you choose to walk away from. Setting boundaries is a way of honoring yourself, ensuring that your needs are met and that you are not constantly compromising your own happiness for the sake of others. By loving yourself first, you give yourself permission to make choices that are aligned with your values and your peace of mind. It's a way of prioritizing your own well-being without feeling guilty or selfish. When you love yourself first, you also cultivate a deeper sense of self-awareness. You begin to recognize your needs, desires, and emotions more clearly. Instead of seeking answers or validation from others, you learn to trust your own instincts and make decisions that are in alignment with your true self. This self-awareness allows you to navigate life with confidence and clarity because you are rooted in your own sense of self-worth. You stop second-guessing yourself and begin to trust that the decisions you make are the right ones for you. Loving yourself means having the confidence to listen to your inner voice and follow it, even when it goes against the opinions or expectations of others. Self-love also involves embracing self-care. It's about taking the time to nurture yourself physically, emotionally, and mentally. Self-care isn't just about pampering yourself with occasional treats, though those are important too. It's about making choices that support your overall well-being. This can look like taking a walk to clear your mind, practicing mindfulness, eating nourishing foods, or setting aside time for activities that bring you joy and peace. Loving yourself first means recognizing that you are worthy of care, attention, and effort. You deserve to feel good, to feel rested, and to feel at ease in your own body. When you care for yourself, you are signaling to the world that you value yourself, and this sends a powerful message to others about how they should treat you. One of the most profound aspects of loving yourself first is the way it influences your relationships. When you love yourself, you stop seeking validation, love, or approval from others to fill the void within you. Instead, you approach relationships from a place of wholeness. You are not looking to someone else to make you feel complete because you already feel complete within yourself. This shift changes the way you engage with others. You stop settling for relationships that are unfulfilling or toxic because you know that you deserve better. Loving yourself first helps you recognize your value and prevents you from accepting anything less than the love, respect, and kindness you deserve. You are no longer dependent on others for your happiness. You create your own happiness, and you attract relationships that mirror that sense of self-worth. When you make loving yourself a priority, you also begin to shed old habits, patterns, and beliefs that no longer serve you. You become more aligned with your true essence and stop trying to fit into molds that others have created for you. You let go of the fear of not being good enough or not measuring up, and instead, you embrace your authenticity. Loving yourself first allows you to stand in your own power, to walk through life unapologetically as who you are without trying to be anything or anyone else. In essence, loving yourself first is the foundation of living a fulfilling, peaceful, and empowered life. It's the recognition that you are worthy of love, respect, and happiness, and that you don't need to seek these things outside of yourself. When you make self-love a priority, everything else in life falls into place. You attract love, you build stronger, healthier relationships, and you cultivate a sense of peace that comes from within.